Brian. Welcome to Across the Culture Wars. On this broadcast, we are going to get into how America ends, why women are struggling, mental health, and more. So stay tuned. Okay, so I'm going to start the broadcast now. I'm your host, Brian. Welcome to Across the Culture Wars. So, we're going to get right into the discussion, and the questions that we have today are really good. We want to know, why is there a growing disconnect between older generations and millennials and Gen Zs? Why are birth rates declining globally? Why are women struggling in the workforce? Why are women seemingly more unhappy? And how does the economic system benefit women today? These are all questions that relate to women primarily. And this broadcast is by no means meant to attack, disparage, or to cause harm to women. Instead, this broadcast is a bridge and olive branch to have a discussion because women play such a vital role in the lives of many men, especially myself, whereas we have mothers, aunts, grandparents, we have sisters, cousins, friends, co-workers. So what happens to women actually affect men on a very deep level. And so that's why we want to get into this discussion. So I am going to start by playing a clip. How I usually do my broadcast is I ask a question, I play a clip, I attempt to answer the question. The clips usually are used as primary sources to connect the viewers with my ideas. So we want to know, why is there a growing disconnect between the generations? And in this broadcast, we're going to talk about women primarily, and we're advocating for women, and we're also trying to build the olive branch to understand what's going on. So without further ado, I'm going to play my first clip.
So apparently, women do not want to have babies anymore, and I do not blame us. They say that Korea is projected to be the first country of people, or I guess nationality of people, to disappear from the planet.
Korean women are dedicated to erasing Korea from the planet because listen to this. I will not give birth to a life that will discriminate against my gender. My own flesh and blood must not become a blade that turned against me. If the world born from my body oppresses me, I will not let that word exist. This is the declaration from the Korean feminists, and they're dead as serious. They started the 4B movement where they rejected marriage, childbirth, dating schmacks with men. And now Korea has the world's lowest birth rate and is indeed projected to be the first country disappearing from the planet due to population decline. You know what? You gotta respect.
I feel like I still see a lot of men who want to have babies, who want to make a lot of kids. But the truth be told is, I really think that men would prefer to have more kids than women would, because let's just be for real. Men don't really have to do anything other than give their sperm. Like, we have to do, like, women are exhausted, women are tired, women don't want to have 5 or 6, 7, 8 kids. Like, it's exhausting, it tears up your body. The mental load, the physical load, it's just too much. And a lot of times you go through all of that hell and you still don't get respected. And so it's like, what's the point? Like, I honestly think that we should just let the world go extinct.
So this goes into my question, why are birth rates declining globally? And I think that this is a question that we need to ask. And we also need to talk to women to understand their perspective. So that's an interesting perspective. Let's play another clip before we get into the discussion portion.
I just find it so ironic that we as women fought for the right to work and have the same jobs as men So tell me why I constantly hear women complaining about having to work. Like, we fought so hard for these rights, and then suddenly we can't be appreciative of having a job. I hear women constantly complaining, especially on social media, my own workplace, from other peers, just constantly complaining about going to work, being at work, having to work. And it definitely reflects in how they interact with coworkers and customers too. They're walking around so miserable and they make everyone around them miserable too. And it's funny because we demanded equality in the workforce. We wanted the same opportunities as men. We got what we asked for, and now we're all ungrateful as hell. Men don't constantly complain about having to work because they understand it's part of being an adult and providing for themselves and their families. And you want to know why men do these jobs, these hard jobs? Why men work and don't complain? They rarely complain, and if they do, he's definitely a beta. But other than that, men just do what needs to be done. My man works hard every single day. He owns his own company and works 60 plus hours a week, and I don't ever hear him complain, like ever. Because men were made to carry this type of stress, women weren't. Men understand that work is their responsibility, their duty. They don't expect it to make them happy or fulfilled. They expect it to provide for their families and build something meaningful. But women act like having a job is some kind of punishment. Well, it kind of is. Like, we're victims for having to show up and do the work we literally demanded the right to do. We have done everything to try to make the female population happy: equal pay, equal opportunities, flexible schedules, maternity leave, and we're still ungrateful. It's getting annoying. You can't demand equality and then complain when you actually have to be equal. Maybe the problem isn't the job or the workplace. Maybe the problem is that we thought having a career would fulfill us in ways it was never meant to. We traded traditional roles for corporate ones and then act surprised when sitting in a cubicle all day doesn't make us happy. And look, there's nothing wrong with women wanting to work and make a difference. And if you're working out of necessity, that's understandable. But don't take your frustrations out on everyone else around you or act like the world owes you something because you have to work. You can't fight for something and then complain when you get it. Either be grateful for the opportunities or admit you made the wrong choice. We as women need to stop complaining about the life we chose. If you don't like working, figure out a different path, but stop making everyone else miserable with your attitude.
Okay, you guys, so welcome to Across the Culture Wars, and we are going to have a great discussion today. So, we want to know, how does the economic system benefit women today? We're talking about the cost of higher education, as well as why are women struggling um, in the modern world. Women are very unhappy, and as a male, this affects me too. So I do have a voice in this, but I'm not taking the angle of I hate women, I don't like women, because I love women, right? So I want the best for women. So here's the thing, guys. We're in a time where the world is seemingly in chaos, right? The world is increasingly more divided than it's ever been. And when we ask questions, that bridges the gap to having a conversation. And we're in a world right now where it's seemingly the wealthy versus the poor, right? So a lot of women are feeling the competition of having to exist in a capitalist society. And my question that I want to know is, where does capitalism leave women, and does it leave room for women to be mothers? Does capitalism leave room for women to be wives? Or is the role of capitalism in relation to women to only be producers and consumers? So we can see that birth rates are declining around the globe, guys, especially in the capitalist dominated nations, the countries of Europe, the United States. And This is having a huge effect on women's mental health. A lot of women want to unalive themselves. A lot of women suffer from depression. A lot of women suffer from mental health issues, severe depression. And a lot of times when women try to advocate for themselves, no one wants to hear them, right? And uh we're living in a world where we're going to have to listen to women. We're going to have to hear what they have to say, because it's not just this vague idea of women. This could be your mother, this could be your sister, this could be your significant other, this could be your wife, right? This could be someone that you care about. And we're living in a world where it seems that the family is under attack. And I want to know, do you think that the family is under attack? Do you think that it's harder for young people, especially millennials and Gen Z, to form intimate relationships? A lot of young people, male, female, don't want to get married. They don't want to have kids. They have a dystopian view of the world. For older generations, this is seen as very odd. A lot of young people don't even know how to go on a date, what to expect on a date, how to uh maneuver through the art of dialogue and love. We live in a text first generation. A lot of people in this generation basically lack game. They lack the ability to become attractive or to be attractive to a mate. So this is really interesting, and I'm going to play another clip discussing this.
Feminism is not the issue, but what it's turned into is. The original fight was for equality, votes, jobs, and just mutual respect. But somewhere along the way, equality morphed into superiority. Now, women are told, you don't need a man. Depending on him, it makes you weak. Be soft and nurturing. That's betrayal. Femininity was never weakness, but when women started trying to outman men, the polarity disappeared. No push, no pull, no leadership, no trust, just two people fighting for control, wondering why the attraction is dead. Men aren't disgusted by women. They're disgusted by the distortion, the constant anger, the victimhood, the competition. Masculine energy in women is repulsive to high value masculine men. It just doesn't work. Real men don't want to battle their woman. They want to build with her. They want the woman who can lead her own ambitions and still soften in his arms at night, because strength and softness can still coexist. It should be able to. Masculine energy brings structure, protection, and direction. Feminine energy brings warmth, intuition, and life. You remove one, you get chaos. You fake one, and you get resentment. Feminism wasn't freedom. It was a tax scam. Shove women into offices, twice the work, twice the cash for Uncle Sam, pump up her paychecks, sell her cars, daycare, happy pills, then throw the kids in a brainwash center, aka schools, while mom and dad grind 60-hour weeks, too wiped to see the family's actually been robbed. The goal was never to dominate each other. It was to balance each other out, to make each other better. When masculine and feminine move in harmony, your love thrives and legacies last lifetimes.
So what we're seeing is a lot of women are looking at this from different lenses. You have one side um where it's like this lady who wants harmony in a relationship. I'm going to play another video of someone else that has a completely different viewpoint on where women are in the state of the world. So they're both reacting to the system, but they're reacting differently. And I'm not here to say which is right or which is wrong. I'm here to have a discussion.
So apparently, women do not want to have babies anymore, and I do not blame us. They say that Korea is projected to be the first country of people, or I guess nationality of people, to disappear from the planet.
Korean women are dedicated to erasing Korea from the planet because listen to this. I will not give birth to a life that will discriminate against my gender. My own flesh and blood must not become a blade that turned against me. If the world born from my body oppresses me, I will not let that word exist. This is the declaration from the Korean feminists, and they're dead as serious. They started the 4B movement where they rejected marriage, childbirth, dating schmacks with men. And now Korea has the world's lowest birth rate and is indeed projected to be the first country disappearing from the planet due to population decline. You know what? You gotta respect.
I feel like I still see a lot of men who want to have babies, who want to make a lot of kids. But the truth be told is, I really think that men would prefer to have more kids than women would, because let's just be for real. Men don't really have to do anything other than give their sperm. Like we have to do, like women are exhausted, women are tired, women don't want to have 5 or 6, 7, 8 kids. Like it's exhausting, it tears up your body. The mental load, the physical load, it's just too much. And a lot of times you don't even, you go through all of that hell and you still don't get respected. And so it's like, what's the point? Like, I honestly think that we should just let the world go extinct.
Okay, guys. So I think that I've asked enough questions and it's time to get into the discussion part. So I played some clips. You have some women that are wanting relationships. You have women that are reacting to the climate and saying that they don't even want or marriage relationships. They don't even want to reproduce, right? And I think that we can say that the world is in a state of confusion. Why are women confused? Why are men confused? Why are we stuck in this circular logic of a conversation where one party is saying this, the other party is saying this, but we can't meet in the middle? Okay, so first I'm going to state and ask us another question. When does a relationship start? I think that this is one of the things why people are so confused, because we are living in a modern world where we don't know when a relationship starts. Some people will say the relationship starts when emotions are invested. Some people will say the relationship starts when they say it starts, that they can start and end the relationship whenever they get ready. I argue that the relationship starts when two consenting adults enter the bedroom. And this is where the conversation becomes real, because what we're seeing is we're having adults who enter the bedroom and then say that they're not in a relationship. And they want to say in our generation that the bedroom activity is not a part of the relationship. It is just recreational. And I think that this is, even as a male, I think that this is having detrimental effects on the population, because so much can happen once you enter the bedroom, right? And so I've actually had adults 35, 40, 45 tell me, oh, that's, you think that's when the relationship starts? Me and this person can consent to that, and that doesn't mean that we're in a relationship. We were just having fun. So think about how this is going to affect future generations and children when we don't view that the act of coming together as one, sex, as a part of the relationship, as the beginning of the relationship. When uh marriage used to be seen as a ceremony for the act of procreating, of coming together. So clearly, we still attach the meaning of that ceremony and consummating a marriage with the act of going into the bedroom. But in modern times, the lines have been blurred due to um the narratives that we can spin, because now we have contraceptives. So now you could go into the bedroom and it doesn't result in childbirth. Now we can, do certain things to get rid of unwanted pregnancies, right? And that's just a part of when the relationship starts. Another part of it is the economic system, right? We're living in a world that is based on economics. How much money do you make? Women are forced to work and produce in this society. And I agree with the young lady when she said women are exhausted. And so we have to ask ourselves, um, why are some women struggling in the workforce? Why do so many women struggle in the workforce? A lot of women are silently going through a crisis, depression, severe mental health issues, wanting to give up. And a lot of guys don't really understand this. A lot of women are very isolated. women are going through what a lot of men went through in previous generations, right? A lot of men have felt isolated. A lot of men have felt like no one cares about them, that they're only worth what they can produce, what they can provide. And seemingly and ironically, women are now going through the same thing. And we're living also in a world where the family unit is breaking down, right? And let's get into that.
60 to 70% of divorces are initiated by women after 40. Why is that?
Because they change and they become more empowered with who they are and less tolerant of their man's bullshit probably.
Yeah.
But also not being afraid to speak their mind and maybe alienating or pissing off their partner such that their partner's like, I don't want to be in this anymore.
It took a lot of intentional conversations to be able to just explain that he met me at 21 and I'm sitting here at 55 and I'm very different than I was at 21 and I'm very different than I was at 45.
It almost feels like what's happening hormonally with menopause is like a way of reclaiming yourself and rebirthing yourself. And now it's your time.
Yep.
Right. And like you get to be you and do what you want to do.
Yep.
Okay. So a lot of women and men, but especially women, a lot of women are choosing to end things in relationships, in unions, in marriages, which men already know due to the past that this leads to isolation, right? So when we end our marriages, end our unions, it leads to greater isolation. I think that the economic system has successfully taught all of us or marketed to all of us that ending a marriage is freedom instead of seeing it as exactly what it is, which we're talking about unions where there's no abuse. We're not talking about situations where clearly someone's safety is at risk. We are now marketing to people as a nation that people, women, men, you should leave your relationship, leave your children without two-parent homes, leave your unions if you have a bad day, if you are unhappy, if your mate doesn't meet your emotional needs. And I think that we have raised the bar so high for what a partner is supposed to be that even if a person is a solid partner, a solid friend, a solid father, for men, your partner, your lady could be a solid mother, a solid person. She shows up every day. She's a good person. We can still find things that we don't like to belittle this person in order to end the relationship. So I think that we need to reevaluate the purpose of what a union is. And if you can see this artwork, you have a child that's holding both parents arms, but it's like the parents are going in separate directions. And so when we are going in separate directions, that means that we're not in harmony, right? um we want to make music when we're together, right? We want harmony and melodies to coexist, right? And what we're seeing with the breakdown of the family unit, we're seeing children are put on the back burner for parents' happiness. And a lot of people really think, and they say, and I've heard this before, um, that basically though the kids don't matter. I think everyone lives matter. The kids' lives matters, the parents' lives matter, the mother lives, the father's lives, the offspring. But I don't think that we realize, going back to what I said before, the mental health crisis that exists for women and what women are going through. A lot of women are not protected by the family unit. The family unit historically have existed to protect its most vulnerable members, right? Animals stick together in order to survive. We are being promoted to break up our family units, and somehow the things that we can buy externally is supposed to replace the intimacy, our human interactions, right? And the value of a human is being really devalued in our modern society, right? And you have some women that are understanding this and they're talking about this. And I'm going to play a clip restating this now.
The most isolating thing is being 34 years old and not having children. This is something that I rarely, if ever, talk to anyone about because it hurts and it makes me feel very vulnerable, and I don't like that feeling. But if I feel alone in this, I know that there are so many other people who feel alone in it as well. I think it's so important for us as believers to share our struggles, because when we just go out in the world and look around, especially on social media, it looks like everyone else is just having this dream life. And so the enemy tells us that everyone else's life is good and that we're the only ones struggling. Since I decided that I wanted to get pregnant, I have watched people go from being single with no prospects to dating, to married, to having a baby, all within the time that I was waiting. I also have watched some other people have 3 babies within that amount of time. And I don't get on Facebook. Like I have to keep the Facebook app deleted from my phone. And the reason why is because when I open Facebook, I feel like likes to pour salt in your wound. I don't know if you guys agree with that. Like TikTok is my safe space. Facebook just likes to find the things that are going to upset you the most and then show you those things over and over and over. So literally when I get on Facebook, all I see is pregnancy announcements and baby showers and people having their babies. And don't get me wrong, I'm so happy for those people. Like that is incredible. It's such a blessing from God. But it hurts my heart and it almost makes me bitter because I think, why not me? You know, I think like, how did my life get to this? Like, how did I get to a point where instead of being able to have a normal life like everyone else, I'm battling this thing? Like, why is this my cross to bear? But those are thoughts from the enemy though. And I have to put those away every day, and I have to challenge them with scripture and God's truth. This is another of those situations that I have to surrender to God every day, because if I don't, I will pick it back up and start carrying it. I know that God has good plans for my life, and I know that He will give me children. I know that. But I am human, and knowing that doesn't stop me from sometimes spiraling and sometimes feeling bitter. But you know, the Bible says if your right hand causes you to sin, cut it off. And I don't think we're supposed to take that literally. We're not supposed to literally cut our hand off. But if Facebook is causing me to have bad feelings toward people that are sinful, feelings that I don't want to have, that aren't benefiting me or anyone else, it is helpful for me to not get on there, to just delete the app so I don't get on there and scroll and constantly be reminded of the thing that I can't have or the thing that I don't have. Satan tempted Eve in the garden and got her to eat the fruit by reminding her of the one thing that she didn't have. And he will do that same thing to us. He will remind us over and over and over of the thing that we don't have. And humans, being well-meaning, will find that one thing that really cuts you deep, and then every time they see you, that's what they want to talk about. But for someone who's struggling, sometimes they just want to seem normal. They just want to have a normal conversation and not talk about the one bad thing in their life. I know that God is going to grow flowers in this valley. I know that He has good plans for me. And even though I don't know the future, I can rest knowing that He is in control and He is working all things together for my good. And if you follow Him, He's working all things together for your good also. So whatever it is that the enemy is using to make you feel isolated, to make you feel alone, you take that thing and you surrender it to Jesus every day if you need to. Don't pick it back up. It's not yours to carry. Give it to Jesus and trust that his plan.
Okay. So I think that we have to ask ourselves, can we have relationships in the modern world, in this current system that we're living under? I'm going to make an argument that perhaps we cannot. Now, this is a controversial take because I'm not saying that you can't engage in bedroom activities. I'm not saying that you can't have a person that you care about, that they will care about you. What I'm saying is that it seems as though when you're in a relationship, you're not just in a relationship by yourself. You have to live in the world. The world and society, the relationship exists in that environment. So why is it that so many people are unhappy? Why are so many people struggling to enter into unions? Why are so many people divorcing? Why are so many people anti-kids, anti-happiness, just very dystopian in their viewpoint? Why are so many people self-medicating with marijuana, alcohol, all of these things? I think that is a form of escapism, right? People are in basically a prison. I would argue that society has been made to be a prison system, and we have limited freedoms. And it's becoming increasingly obvious that we live in a prison system, that society is made to be a prison. Now, why is that? And is there any truth to that? And if there is truth to that, what is the proof? Okay, we are only allowed to do what those in charge tell us to do. You don't actually have freedom. Most people only have the illusion of freedom. Now, what gives us the illusion of freedom is that while in the prison system, certain people have more rights and privileges than other people. So since we live in a system where certain demographics have more rights and privileges, that's like having a room that you're not allowed to go into, and so you don't really know. But then once you get into that room, you realize like, wow, I'm still in the same prison. I'm just in a different room in the prison. Okay, economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, relationships, and now we have war going on, right? All of these areas are dominated by discrimination and injustice. Women are severely discriminated against in the modern world. Even seemingly with more women working than ever, they're still exploited. Even with women who are millionaires, women are still exploited. Even with women having talk shows and being seen as a symbol, women are still very much so discriminated. How many people remember just a couple years ago we had the big protest with the Roe v. Wade situation, and women were protesting that they should have the right to do what they want, or in unwanted pregnancies, or even pregnancies if there's a terminal illness, right? And women were told by those in power that no, if you are pregnant, you cannot terminate um the pregnancy. And the reason why this is going on is because birth rates are declining globally, right? And the system needs more prisoners. The system needs more people to police, right? We live in a giant pyramid scheme, some would say. And in this giant pyramid scheme that we're living in, the only way for older people or people that's already been prisoners to have more privileges is for new prisoners to be born, right? The people that are 20 years old are smarter or at least more developed than the people that are 10 years old, right? So older people been here longer so they can take advantage of younger people. It's just a numbers game. And women are victimized in this system because women are used as bait. Now, what do I mean by that? Women have been marketed an idea that you can have it all. Men have been marketed an idea, both genders, that you can have it all. And the things that they are selling to us actually leads to our destruction. Men are being told that you can have as many women as you want, you can have as much sex as you want, you can stay young forever, and as long as you have money to play the game, you're still in it. Women are being told that they have to look 25 years old for the rest of their life, that they should go get breast implants, butt injections, that they should look a certain type of way for their entire lives. And the minute that they age, that they're no longer valued. So men are devalued early on in life, right? Because most men don't start off with a lot of money. So it's marketed to men like, okay, once I am able to get a lot of money, then I'm able to live life the way that I want. And a lot of men are mistreated at a very young age because they don't have a lot of value, a lot of economic value when they're young. A lot of women are praised and are celebrated when they're young. Why? Because they're youthful, they're attractive, they're wanted, and so their value is very high when they're young, right? And as their age, it can seem as though the value decreases, and for men, the value increases, mainly because we live in a corrupted society, right? We live in a corrupted society where the real answer to defeating this system is the union of man and woman and having harmony. Society is made up of millions of different families. So a lot of people may say what goes on and what happens to someone else doesn't affect me, but it does actually affect you, but you don't realize it because you may meet a person one day and their family broke up or they faced family trauma at a very young age. Mom and dad split up. It was abuse in the household. And they might meet you. And then you went through the same thing, right? And then you have millions of people that went through this trauma. And they're living in a world where they are trying their best to act as though everything is normal, but society is not normal. The world is on fire all around you. So when I say that we live in a prison, I want you to imagine that we're living in a society that's telling you in order for you to have value, you need to have money. You have to have dollars. You're living in a big old casino. And in order for you to have value, you have to have money to play the game. So humans are devalued. Men are devalued. Women are devalued. Men have weaknesses and strengths. Women have weaknesses and strengths. So they amplify our strengths and they they amplify our weaknesses and ignore our strengths. Men have strengths, women have strengths. However, in this system, that is devalued.
So apparently, women do not want to have babies anymore, and I do not blame us. They say that Korea is projected to be the first country of people, or I guess nationality of people, to disappear from the planet.
Korean women are dedicated to erasing Korea from the planet because listen to this. I will not give birth to a life that will discriminate against my gender. My own flesh and blood must not become a blade that turn against me. If the world born from my body oppresses me, I will not let that word exist. This is the declaration from the Korean feminists, and they are dead as serious. They started the 4B movement where they rejected marriage, childbirth, dating schmacks with men. And now Korea has the world's lowest birth rate and is indeed projected to be the first country disappearing from the planet due to population decline. You know what? You gotta respect.
I feel like I still see a lot of men who want to have babies, who want to make a lot of kids, but the truth be told is I really think that men would prefer to have more kids than women would, because let's just be for real. Men don't really have to do anything other than give their sperm. Like we have to do, like, women are exhausted, women are tired, women don't want to have 5 or 6, 7, 8 kids. Like it's exhausting, it tears up your body. The mental load, the physical load, it's just too much. And a lot of times you don't even, you go through all of that hell and you still don't get respected. And so it's like, what's the point? Like, I honestly think that we should just let the world go extinct.
And this is what I'm saying. So I am just holding a mirror up to what's going on in the world. A lot of people don't like it. A lot of people probably think that I'm being dystopian. I'm actually just asking questions, asking really good questions, right? How does the current economic system benefit women? I think that in the long run, it doesn't benefit women at all. And women are being sold a false reality, an illusion that money, college degrees, being a career woman is going to make you happy. But what you don't realize, or what you may not realize, is you're actually working for the people who rule the world, the very people that want to exploit you. Just like us. All of us are working for people who rule the world. So no matter if you are Elon Musk or you're the guy that work at the convenience store, we are all working given to the system, and the system does not promote justice to us, is what I'm saying. And it's so sad that we're living in a world right now where families are being broken apart, children are suffering, women feel as though that they have to leave their marriages, men feel as though that they are unwanted in their marriages, that their wife doesn't care about them. It's very unfortunate that we have a generation of confusion, a generation where men are confused, women are confused, right? Things that used to be so cut and dry are now um dying, right? It's like the faith, the belief that we had that we could make the world a better place is actually dying. People view relationships as a bad thing. A lot of people are just so confused, just confusion. And someone has to make sense of it. So I would say that I believe that women need justice. I believe that men need justice. I believe that there's a lot of women who want to have families. There's a lot of men that want to have families. I think that wanting families, wanting to be whole, wanting to have justice is a part of the human experience. And I state that I believe that women are feeling like this because they were sold an idea. And the idea was that having a career, having a job was the key to happiness. And you don't need a family. You don't need kids. You don't need a community. You don't need a village. We want you to be an individual. We want you to be by yourself. But when you are by yourself, it is easy to be exploited. So that's been today's broadcast, you guys. I want to thank everyone who joined the broadcast today. I appreciate it.
I just find it so ironic that we as women fought for the right to work and have the same jobs as men, So tell me why I constantly hear women complaining about having to work. Like, we fought so hard for these rights, and then suddenly we can't be appreciative of having a job. I hear women constantly complaining, especially on social media, my own workplace, from other peers, just constantly complaining about going to work, being at work, having to work. And it definitely reflects in how they interact with coworkers and customers too. They're walking around so miserable and they make everyone around them miserable too. And it's funny because we demanded equality in the workforce. We wanted the same opportunities as men. We got what we asked for, and now we're all ungrateful as hell. Men don't constantly complain about having to work because they understand it's part of being an adult and providing for themselves and their families. And you want to know why men do these jobs, these hard jobs? Why men work and don't complain? They rarely complain, and if they do, he's definitely a beta. But other than that, men just do what needs to be done. My man works hard every single day. He owns his own company and works 60 plus hours a week, and I don't ever hear him complain, like ever. Because men were made to carry this type of stress, women weren't. Men understand that work is their responsibility, their duty. They don't expect it to make them happy or fulfilled. They expect it to provide for their families and build something meaningful. But women act like having a job is some kind of punishment. Well, it kind of is. Like, we're victims for having to show up and do the work we literally demanded the right to do. We have done everything to try to make the female population happy: equal pay, equal opportunities, flexible schedules, maternity leave, and we're still ungrateful. It's getting annoying. You can't demand equality and then complain when you actually have to be equal. Maybe the problem isn't the job or the workplace. Maybe the problem is that we thought having a career would fulfill us in ways it was never meant to. We traded traditional roles for corporate ones and then act surprised when sitting in a cubicle all day doesn't make us happy. And look, there's nothing wrong with women wanting to work and make a difference. And if you're working out of necessity, that's understandable. But don't take your frustrations out on everyone else around you or act like the world owes you something because you have to work. You can't fight for something and then complain when you get it. Either be grateful for the opportunities or admit you made the wrong choice. We as women need to stop complaining about the life we chose. If you don't like working, figure out a different path, but stop making everyone else miserable with your attitude.
And guys, that's been today's broadcast across the culture wars. And in my opinion, this is how America ends.